Georgia, if this result will be solidified and will go into action will not be contested, that will mean that Georgia is even more under Russian influence, and its European integration is stopped.
Irregularities happen everywhere. Those were the words of the Georgian Prime Minister last night as he rejected allegations of vote rigging and violence. His party, the ruling Georgian Dream, won an outright majority of 54%, but the pro-Western opposition is claiming foul play and refusing to recognise the result. Oleksiy Goncharenko is a familiar voice here on Times Radio. He's a Ukrainian position and he's in Georgia at the moment to observe the elections. Good morning to you.
Good morning. I just arrived to Chisinau, Moldova from Tbilisi. But yes, this morning I still woke up in Tbilisi and I was observing the parliamentary elections in Georgia as an international observer from the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe.
Yes, and we spoke to you about Moldova last week, I think it was. So tell us a bit about the situation in Georgia. What do you make of the results and do they tally with what you saw with your own eyes?
Unfortunately, with my own eyes, what I saw is not good. I can tell you that from my perspective, it was yesterday a final press conference of international observers, and there was a question from Politico, I think, asked, so were these elections stolen? And my answer is they were not stolen, but bought by Bidzina Ivanishvili, who is a Georgian oligarch, Georgian-Russian oligarch, and the founder of this Georgian Dream Party, which is ruling party in Georgia. What I saw is in rural area, there was intimidation of voters, tension, and clearly buying of votes. And the result is the next. If to take the cities and, for example, the capital of Georgia, Tbilisi, opposition clearly won there. But if to take rural area, it was won officially by ruling party with the numbers up to 94%. Just imagine this. It's like, I just had one question, why not 194%, So that's a bad story. I understand why Georgian president and Georgian opposition parties said that they will not recognize these elections. It's very interesting. Today to Georgia will be a visit of Viktor Orban, Hungarian prime minister, who is in such rush to congratulate Georgian ruling party. And he, by the way, on the elections were on Saturday, and he congratulated the Georgian ruling party with the victory 10 minutes after the precincts were closed. It was even before counting. Right. So you see, and also Russia. So everybody, as always.
What does this result mean then, actually, for the future of Georgia, do you think?
It means that Georgia, if this result will be solidified and will go into action and will not be contested, that will mean that Georgia is even more under Russian influence and its European integration is stopped.
And what about the situation in Moldova? Because I know you were there last week. We spoke to you. You've been to Georgia. Now you're in Moldova again. What has been the fallout from the voting there, not just on the referendum, but all the voting that has taken place? How has Moldova emerged from those from that voting?
I'm now in Moldova because that's my usual way to get back to Ukraine, and there is unfortunately no air flights to Ukraine because of Russian aggression, and that's why I'm coming to Odessa. So I'm now coming to Ukraine. But yes, this weekend there will be the second round of presidential elections here in Moldova, which will also be very, very important because there is a fight between current president Maia Sandu, who is, we can say, pro-Western, and Mr. Stoyanoglu, who is the candidate from the Socialistic Party, which considers to be pro-Russian. So that is also kind of a clash. Yesterday there were presidential debates kind of between candidates here in Moldova.
Okay. Oleksiy Goncharenko, thank you very much. He is, of course, a member of the Ukrainian parliament. and travels around a lot, really, because they have an interest, really, in what many neighbouring countries, neighbouring to Ukraine, neighbouring to Russia, what happens politically within them.
Our European Parliament teams witness in some precincts high tension, confusion and chaos. In one case, ballot box stuffing, physical assault on observers attempting to report on violations, observer and media removal from polling stations, tearing up observers' complaints, intimidation of voters inside and outside of polling stations, presence of multiple party-affiliated observers posing as citizen observers. Furthermore, voting secrecy was not always assured.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished members of press.
We do support the continuous commitment of the Georgian people to democracy, sovereignty, and freedom of their country. We express deep concern about the democratic backsliding in Georgia. The conduct of yesterday's election is unfortunately evidence to that effect. We fear that the climate of hatred and intimidation that was also mentioned before we witnessed on the election day could seriously undermine the political process in Georgia.
Here today, and so you're welcome to put your questions in English or in Georgian.
It is important that the reported violations during the election day are investigated and addressed. We invite the Georgian authorities to fully implement the recommendations of the OSCE ODIHR International Election Observation Mission. Georgians cast their vote yesterday, choosing among different parties and coalitions. This democratic choice is a fundamental right, and taking legal steps to ban opposition parties is unacceptable for a democracy.
Also, what kind of steps the new government will be taking as regards
სამაგრების მოხსნა და ფარულ მდგომარეობაში ხდება ძირითადად მისმიცემის აპარატში შეცვლილება.
Distanziere sakshi vins var movida da mokhutsevis
Fotosesija opstina sa.